All right. So, welcome to the first ever Live with Justin, formerly known when I left Facebook as Live at 5. This is admittedly not a live broadcast. This is going to be recorded. My intent was to start all of this on YouTube Live, but unfortunately, it takes YouTube 24 hours to approve a YouTube Live account. So now I have to wait till the next time we go live, and then we'll be on the YouTube account, and it'll be all kinds of fun. So look in the description of this post. You'll be seeing where to find the YouTube Live account and the feed that it's going to be on, and the channel. It'll be all kinds of cool. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and get this thing started, and we're going to have fun. So first off, what is this all about? Really, as I've mentioned, it started as a live with Justin kind of thing. Live at 5 is what I was calling it. I wanted to do it so I could explain to friends and to family on Facebook why I was deleting my personal profile. Now, I deleted my personal profile for a couple of reasons, to be honest with you, because for one, I found that I was doing nothing but scroll like all the time on my phone. I was doing a lot of scroll on my phone. In fact, it wasn't the best and most healthiest of things to do, to be honest with you. So I made the decision that after trying to just delete the app off of my phone and just not scroll that way, I was finding that I was just going on the web browser and still scrolling away. So I thought, this isn't doing me much good. So I'm going to go ahead and do the best thing that I can do for myself, and I'm going to get rid of Facebook altogether. So I'm out of the feed. I'm out of the scroll. We're going to ditch the drama. We're going to ditch the politics. We're going to ditch the fake news that's all over the place on Facebook. Might as well call it Fakebook. And I'm just going to start life in a different way. And I can tell you that it made a big difference right away. And that wasn't the end of it. There are more steps. We'll talk about that in future episodes, of course, because why not? This is a brand new stream. I've really no idea what Live with Justin is going to ultimately be about. We're going to get onto a thread at some point, and it'll have a theme. We'll do something with it, and it'll be great. But for now, Live with Justin is going to be a potpourri. We're going to work on having guests here and have people come on that we can talk to about different subjects. I mean, as you might know, I'm a photographer. I do a lot of boudoir photography. One of the guests is going to be my wife, so we can talk to her about what her feelings are about me photographing boudoir, and where she's kind of come from when I first started it to where she is now, and how she feels about it now. It's one of those things that I think could be very eye-opening, because the style of photography, it's something that certainly isn't for everybody, and it, for some women, it can, for their husbands photographing the art, it might feel a little bit weird. So I'm hoping that conversation will be something that will be really really helpful for people when she talks about that, and get to hear her perspective. So today I wanted to talk about something that really got back on my radar just a couple weeks ago. I was in my office here at the house, and I was just digging around stuff, finding things that I could throw away, trying to clean out my life. I'm not there yet. What you see behind you is a green screen that with a graphic on it, so you don't get to see all of the trash that's in my room, in my office here. So you're spared that. You get to see a cool graphic that says Live with Justin. And I ran across this notebook, this red notebook right here. And you see the shine of my light there, but the red notebook, it's kind of beat up. It's done remarkably well. It's done remarkably well because it's about 11 years old. It's 10, 11 years old. And what I found were my notes from going to a seminar called Get Motivated. You might have heard about it. A lot of really A-list speakers, big names, like people like Rudy Giuliani was there, Steve Forbes, Bill Cosby, before we all found out about his misdoings. And let's see, Colin Powell was there. That man was one of, if not the most incredible speakers I've ever heard. Loved listening to him. Really inspiring. One day, one of these we'll have to talk about Colin Powell and my experience hearing him. A man named Chris Dunham, really wise, really spiritual man. And there were a bunch of other speakers. At the time, he was called the James Smith Company. Very much into selling his seminars on like financial education, real estate investing. The man is funny. I highly recommend looking him up on YouTube. You will enjoy his words. Rudy Giuliani was there, and he's been kind of up and down in his public world, but let me tell you, going back through my notes, I found some great wisdom in that speech. And Laura Bush, the former First Lady of the United States of America, she was great. And not a lot of content, but just getting to hear her experiences about life as the First Lady and the kind of things that she did. That was pretty neat. Terry Bradshaw, if you've heard of him, big football figure, one of the funniest men that I've ever heard speak. Absolutely loved him. So it was a great event that day. First event of its kind. I'd never been to a motivational conference before. It was not my last, and I will go to more. Really looking at doing Unleash the Power Within, Tony Robbins, his digital event coming up. So I am incredibly excited. So what I wanted to make the topic of today's video about is the first speaker that came out. There were 3 things, and I kid you not, it's the very first. It was right here. The very first thing in the entire day, the first 3 notes that I took from that seminar. Unfortunately, I don't think I got his name right. I think he was quoting someone, and I took his name down as the wrong person. So I don't even know who said this. I tried to find a program to let me know who it was. So if you're out there and you went to Get Motivated and you have the name of the first person that spoke, or you have the program that can tell me who that first person was, I would be totally grateful, because I would love to attribute some of the wisdom that I got from that very first seminar in multiple ways, including on my live show here. So it's got a lot to do with what's going on right now in terms of COVID and the pandemic and everything it's done to pretty much everybody all over the world. There were 3 things that I wrote down, 3 points. It was almost like he was psychic, prescient. He wasn't, because we've all experienced great change before. We've all experienced crazy times in our lives before. And I read this, and it almost gave me chills. I was really blown away. So the first point that I wrote down was disruption plus change equals opportunity. Now let's think about that for a second. For all of 2020, the whole COVID thing has been one disruption after the other. Lots of things. Let's just get real. I live in Northwest Oregon, and I will tell you straight up that the smoke that rolled in was a huge disruption. It broke my spirits in some ways. But opportunity rose out of it. I had the opportunity to look inward, the opportunity to grow. the opportunity to change myself. It was a great thing. I've had I've had a lot of insight ever since that smoke rolled in. I've been opening up books, listening to new ideas, really good ideas, good things that I'm really not ready to articulate yet, but they're things that I can say very safely. They're life changing. Disruption plus change equals opportunity. It's a great way to look at 2020 in general. It's a really great way to look at 2020 in general, man, because we all look at it as just a pox. We can't wait till 2021 is here. We can't wait to say Jumanji and 2020 is over. The reality is 2020 isn't the problem. 2020 is the opportunity. The second thing that he said is, during difficult times, we need to change our views. We need to reinvent ourselves. So, I mean, think about that for a second. What we keep hearing from people in 2020 is, oh, I can't wait for things to get back to normal. I can't wait to send my kids back to school. I can't wait to be able to go to the movie theater again. I can't wait to be able to go back to my favorite bar. I can't wait not to wear a mask to go shopping. While some of those things might be true, it'll be really nice to walk back into a grocery store without a mask. And in fact, in a few minutes, I'm going to the grocery store to go pick up a few necessities. My wife, she will be very happy with me. I believe it. But during these difficult times, this is an opportunity for us to challenge our own views. Like, seriously, think about it. If you are starkly on one side, we'll just use one that's really polarized right now. If on one hand you've got a Republican and on the other hand you've got a Democrat, this is an opportunity for both sides to reimagine their own views. That might sound like sacrilege for some people, but this is a great time. This is a great time to self-examine and not necessarily move off of what their beliefs are and their ideologies, but to think about it a little bit and maybe be able to see things from someone else's perspective. Maybe there's a belief that you've had for a long time that might need reevaluating. I know I've been doing that this year, and I've had some really great revelations for myself because of it. Maybe it's time to get into better shape. Maybe it's time to get some exercise. Lord knows I need it. Seriously. This is an opportunity for us to reinvent ourselves in ways that we might not really have the opportunity to do if we let this chance pass us by. If we spend all of 2020 and all of the time in COVID waiting for it to go away, we're going to do nothing but pass an opportunity to self-evaluate, to do it in a way that when we come out, we're stronger on the other side instead of just recovering when this is all over, when the kids go back to school, for example. We can grow. We can grow in a big way. So the last point that came up was, never allow yourself to become a victim. Avoid negative things and feelings. Okay, so let's do two things really quick. First off, for those of you still on Facebook, if you see regularly negative things from someone, or if you are the person that's regularly sharing negative things, stop right now. Okay. For the negative things that you see them regularly, there's a great way to deal with it. You unfollow or you unfriend. I highly recommend doing one of those things. Get the negativity out of your world. I mean, if someone's just complaining about COVID all the time, Eventually, what you're reading, who you're hanging out with online is going to seep into your brain and make you become that person blaming everything on COVID. I took a note for myself about 2 weeks ago. I wrote something down that said, "Stop blaming COVID." My business has been having a tough time since COVID rolled in. As a photographer, my business has been challenged. So I could choose to blame COVID, or I could choose to find how COVID is on my side, how COVID can help me, how COVID can be something I can work through to make it better, to make life better. So think about getting that negativity out of your world. Now, the other thing is never allow yourself to become a victim. And this is a stark reality that we can look at a situation and say, "Oh my, things are happening to me. It's awful." I think it's Tony Robbins that's always saying, you need to realize that life happens. Life happens for you. Life happens to you. It is not life happening, or yeah, it is not life happening to you. It's life happening for you. Kind of mind blowing. Let's break it down. Is COVID-19, the pandemic, the everything that's come with it, is it happening for us, or is it happening to us? It's a thought, something good to think about, because we can choose to let COVID victimize us, or we can let COVID be something that makes us stronger, that's something that's happening for us. We hear it all the time from lots of our political leaders. We hear it frequently because he's popular in the media. The president, he's often out saying, "Oh, it's not fair," or "I'm treated unfairly," or "these people treated me very badly." Well, it makes me really sad when I hear that, because we have to rise above victimhood. We have to be better than that. Straight up. We just got to be better than that. We don't need to be victims. We need to be leaders. We're not getting a lot of it from either side of the aisle in Washington, from Democrats or Republicans out there. So we need to be leaders. We need to step up as people and not become the victim, not let COVID, not let how someone treats us. We need to take responsibility. What did I do during COVID that made my life better, instead of crawling into a hole, drinking and watching Netflix all day? Stuff to think about. These three items from the Get Motivated seminar were really eye-opening for me. It made me realize that this time has been a transformational opportunity. And I mean, there's going to be more. I've got lots of cool things that we can talk about. Reading a great book right now about how to break up with your phone, and why you want to break up with your phone, what that means. We'll talk about that in another episode. But let me tell you, man, don't squander this chance. Don't squander it. It's here. It's a great opportunity. We can do some great things as people. And just reading my notes from a past seminar made me remember it. So, guys, it's been a fun, I think, 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to enjoy getting better at this. Don't skewer me too bad. This was my first go around, but I'm gonna get going here and go do grocery shopping. I think I'm gonna take my oldest with me. And in the meantime, stay safe with yourselves. Do treat the pandemic with respect. Wear the mask. Stop the transmission. And at the same time, remember, you can do good things with it too. So have a great night, everybody, and we will talk soon.